I ran my campaign, as you probably saw, on three main issues. One was the pushing back against Ottawa and asserting our autonomy, making sure as well that we have the choice in medical options and amending the Human Rights Act to make sure that medical choice is a protected area in law. And then, of course, reforming Alberta Health Services and healthcare. Those are the three things that I think all of the candidates ultimately have made as a priority to go into the fall session. And so I was delighted to see the level of unity over those three issues being our priorities. I should also say that, of course, an emerging issue is what we're seeing in Ottawa as the NDP have developed this coalition with the Liberals. Earlier this week, we saw that they voted to increase the carbon tax by triple. And I'm sort of astonished that Rachel Notley has not condemned that act and asked for her leader, Jagmeet Singh, to reverse his position. She spent an awful lot of time talking about affordability, but we know that the biggest affordability crisis we have is related to the carbon tax, which she implemented and the federal government won't let us get rid of. It's now looking like it's on track to have a threefold increase. And if we do not address that, we are going to see an increase in the price of everything. We're already beginning to see that with gasoline bills and diesel bills. When we're coming into the fall season on electricity and home heating, we know that many of the decisions that Rachel Notley made on electricity, especially the early phase out of coal, dramatically increased the cost of electricity. So I think she would do a lot of good to her credibility if she called on Jagmeet Singh to rescind or reverse his position on that. And I'm looking forward to seeing her do the right thing on that if she's going to continue advocating for more affordability in Alberta. The thing that I have heard, regardless of whether I'm in Calgary or Edmonton or North Central or Southern Alberta, is that we have to deal with the 2.5 years of lockdown and the impact that it's had on people's mental health and on our children in particular. And so part of my campaign was addressing how we're going to correct a couple of those things. Number one, we've got a lot of learning loss that has happened, especially at the younger grades. And so I have pledged that we want to do across the board testing of our kids to make sure that they're reading and writing and doing math at grade level. And if they're falling behind, we need to hire the education assistants and tutors to bring them up to grade level. We can't allow that to continue on unaddressed. Otherwise, it's going to create a lifetime of problems for kids. The second thing that I hear from parents, and there's a group called Families for Choice that surveyed their members. I think they had 25,000 members. The number one thing that they were concerned about was the mental health of their kids. And we've heard that a lot. There's been a lot of fear, a lot of isolation. There's been ostracism that has happened as we've seen this division created by politicians between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. And it's caused a lot of trauma to our young people. So that's going to be another area that we have to make sure that we address. I'm hearing that we have 8 to 12 week delays getting our young ones into therapy and counseling. So it's one of the reasons I ran on a health spending account is I want to be able to give families $300 per child, per person, and they can work together on pooling that money if there's a child that has a particular problem so that the kids can get the mental health support that they need. Those to me are everyone issues. It doesn't matter where you come from in the province, and it doesn't matter what your political ideology is. We have to make sure that we're investing in our kids. So you'll see that in the first couple of weeks after I'm successful, making sure that we address those issues is going to be the number one priority. I will seek a by-election seat, and I will consult with my caucus, and I'll go back and look at what we ran on, and I'll go back and look at the mandate that we got on the equalization referendum and the mandate that we've gotten through various consultations. And I think that the approach that we are taking of defending our constitutional jurisdiction, that's not at odds with the law. In fact, it's the federal government who's at odds with the law. They're the ones who keep invading our jurisdiction. You look at what Brian Peckford said a couple of weeks ago. He's the last living signatory to the Charter of Rights and Freedoms in the Constitution. He said that the federal government has no more right to legislate in our areas than we do in theirs. And I think that the approach that I'm taking is one, in fact, that Albertans have been asking for some time. So I do feel like we've got a mandate to defend the Constitution and defend the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And that's what I would do.